Another episode of the Flying Upstream podcast. Today, we are diving deep into the world of insurance, but not just any insurance. We're talking about unconventional strategies, cutting edge techniques, and a whole lot of inspiration. Our guest today is Tyler Jensen, who is the mastermind behind InsureRisk University. He isn't your average insurance guru, he's a visionary who's revolutionizing the industry with his unique approach to business growth. So, buckle up and get ready to challenge the status quo.
So Tyler is the driving force behind InsureRisk University, a premier coaching platform for home and auto insurance agents. As a leading expert in the insurance industry, Tyler's top performance insights have empowered countless agents to elevate their businesses through his comprehensive framework, which focuses on systems, power, focus, and action. He is a sought after speaker known for his engaging and motivational presentations that inspire professionals to overcome challenges and achieve lasting success. With a passion for helping others, Tyler's work has transformed the way insurance agents approach their careers, making him a trusted authority in the field. Please help me welcome Mr. Tyler Jensen.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you as well, Louise, for having me on the show.
Of course, we are very excited to have you on. I love that one of the things we do here is we like to start at the beginning. So, on our podcast, the Flying Upstream podcast, we celebrate people who dare to walk the road less traveled, the less conventional paths, that stay true to themselves and not just walk the path that society tells us to walk. How did your early life shape you to follow and walk a sort of less conventional path?
Great question, Louise. I love this teaching from Christ, where he says he teaches the rich young ruler to sell all that he has and come follow me. And for that individual, he couldn't do it. He couldn't give up those things. And, being a Christian, that resonates with a lot of people because the path that has the most reward, the most engagement, most fulfilling is the path not traveled. And for business owners who we work with a lot, that is the path less traveled, right? 1% of business owners really make it big, right? But it is that path. It's the path of discipline. It's the path of giving up things that you may want in the moment to have in the future. It's the mindset of consistency, persistence, perseverance, hard work, focus. And these are the things that to be successful, you have to do. And it's that road less traveled that makes success because, let's be honest, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
One of my favorite quotes.
Yep.
And so that perseverance is what makes that difference to say, yes, I'm going to sacrifice for this short term so that way long term I can profit.
Love that. So, Tyler, help for our listeners who may not be super familiar with your work, help them understand a little bit about what is unconventional about your path. So, how are you going kind of against the mainstream? How are you taking that road less traveled that led you to where you are today?
Good question. So our company, we are making a name change currently to the Top Performance Group, because that is in essence what we help people achieve is top performance. And the exact opposite of that is what we help prevent, which is complacency. Now, we've created 3 models of complacency that individuals fall into. And the one that I kind of love the most, and it makes me smile, is it's called the self-made complacent. It's where the individual gets a point into their life and they say, I've made it. I'm good. and then they stop progressing. And our philosophy is top performance is a daily basis. And so as you implement in our 4 pillars of top performance, you have to do that every single day and consistently improve your life, improve others, improve your business, because we are here to have a life of abundance, not a life of mediocrity, not a life of complacency.
I love that. And that goes right in line with the beauty of creating an unconventional path, right? Because in that unconventional path, it is where we learn and we grow so much. I always say that being an entrepreneur is like choosing to, dig into the deepest parts of your soul and always be growing. It's like the deepest self exploration in my personal experience that I have had, because it's a daily exploration of self, a daily pushing of myself to reach new grounds and deal with new issues and new problems and new adventures that I could not have guessed would be coming up. So I love that you share that. And I want to talk about something, because insurance, I'm in the legal field now, but I was in insurance for 8.5 years before this, and it's kind of a path that's somewhat conventional. Um, a lot of us are told, go to school, go to college, and get a job at a Fortune 500 insurance company, or at a law firm, or go, be an engineer, or kind of that traditional path. But what you're doing is you've created a coaching platform for insurance agents. Can you talk a little bit about that and about how that's sort of different of just jumping into the traditional insurance industry?
Yeah. So I started jumping in, like what you said, right out of college, opened up a scratch agency, and soon realized that I kind of went back to what I always liked doing. I always love helping others and helping teach people. Um, that's kind of my background. My dad worked at university. My mom was a teacher as well. So I've always loved that aspect of sharing knowledge, helping others improve. And so after a few years of owning an agency, I actually took the role of a field training consultant for an insurance company. So I was able to train hundreds of agents through that company over the last several years, and then continue to say, I want to do more. I want to do things better. I want to help people more than what I'm currently capable of doing in my role.
Mhm.
And that's where I decided to start the coaching. So it's been, it's getting into coaching. It's not like an overnight thing. It was actually 4 years of study, prep work, research, creating original frameworks, proprietary roadmaps. So that way, when I launched, everything was mine. So all of our processes, our procedures, all of our frameworks are original content. So that way, when agents come to us, it's not, oh, how is this different from what I can get anywhere else? No, we
Mhm.
have uniqueness. We have, like you said, an unconventional path that we can take you down that's going to drive results in a different avenue. So that's kind of my experience. I wanted to do things differently than others, and I didn't want to be confined to what the normal insurance world is. I wanted to help individuals break through, view things differently, and move away from price-based sales into value and relationship and trust-based sales for their clients.
I used to be in sales actually, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm curious to know too, as someone who's also been in sales, you mentioned that you spent a lot of time setting up everything behind it, the support system, if you will, the framework, the worksheets, the platform. Can you talk about how that was so important for you to achieve success on your path here, and what tips and tricks that you did to make sure that was in a place where it would really help people be successful on their own paths?
One of the biggest, I guess, life lessons that I have learned is the value of mentorships. And that is one thing that I always sought after, even when I was young, even when I opened an agency. I realized there's a point where I needed to find somebody that I could follow, somebody I could learn from. And so I've always looked and observed and learned from others. So I feel like that commitment for me to say, hey, I want to create something of my own, pushed me and made me do the work that other people aren't willing to do. Right? It's for those 4 years, I was working a full-time job, and I was also working 8 hours in the evening doing research. After I have 3 kids and a wife, after spending time with them. So this is from 9 o'clock to 2 in the morning, waking up at 5 o'clock for 4 years to create what I have here. And it's all that back end items that people don't see, but those are the things that drive this success and the commitment to say, hey, I am going to sacrifice for this short time so I can receive the blessings later on. And then I just forgot the second part of your question. Sorry.
That's okay. I think that was wonderful. And I think there's so much value in what you said, because living in a society in which we want instant gratification, I think that's why we see so many people not even try, right? Like, you put in work that is unseen for 4 years. You put in, basically working 2 full-time jobs and having a family. That is a lot, right? And that is a lot for people who don't know that in the end they're going to make it. But what that really means to me is people who don't trust themselves enough to just be like, I'm going to make it one way or another. So this work that I'm putting in, it's not for nothing, because either I learn or I grow and I'm successful, or I learned and I grew anyway.
Yep.
And I love that you shared that, because that's a lot of grit. That takes a lot of grit. That takes a lot of resilience. That takes a lot of self-awareness and pushing yourself, because there's nobody there who's going to come tap you at 9 p.m. after you put your kids to bed and is going to tell you to do that other thing. That's all within you. So I love, love, love that you shared that. And how did you manage, because I think this is important for people to know, right? It's a concept, right? For people who don't have to put in that extra work, I feel like it's very conceptual to think, oh, he put in an extra 8 hours a day every day. But what were the hardships that you experienced, the obstacles, the mental ones, the physical ones, the maybe resource ones, when you were doing both of those things, working a full-time job and building your insurance business in the background?
That's hard to answer because I never focus or dwell on struggles or failures, because to me one of our first pillars is optimism, where it's everything that happens results is the best thing for you. So I never view things as failures. I view everything as opportunities to learn and grow, because that's how you can overcome setbacks. That's how you can overcome trials and pain points and change your mindset during those things. So looking back, I mean, there were definitely trials. I would say one of the biggest ones was when I had a boss, a, a, somebody over me who told me that I was terrible at sales. He didn't trust me at sales, and that I wouldn't make it in those things. And then being able to have to overcome some of those to tell yourself, no, like, I am good at this. I can create this. I can do this. So when you make changes in your life, when you want to progress in business, when you want to progress yourself, there's always going to be people around you that's going to tell you no, or they're going to try and pull you down, because when you progress, in their minds, it makes them think that they're not as good in comparison to how you're growing. So you have to just be able to not let other people's opinions affect what you want. It's your vision, it's your goals, it's your dreams that you need to be committed to, and surround yourself with individuals that support those decisions. And don't let any of the naysayers drag you down.
Such good advice. Such good advice. I can certainly appreciate that. As you're speaking, I'm remembering similar things in my life where I've had people tell me, like, yeah, you'll never be anything. You know, I had a college professor who, so I was a computer science major, one of two girls, and I did poorly on an exam, and I went to talk to my professor about it. And he just told me, oh, you know, don't even try to get a job in that industry in IT. You know, you should just go do Teach for America. That's what you should do. Like, don't even bother. You know, and then sure enough, jobs come around to my college, and I got the one job that everybody wanted, this coveted job at Johnson & Johnson, and I was so proud of myself. But anyway,
Awesome.
so yeah, I totally know how that is. It is hard. It's really, really good advice, and I would echo that too. Remember that is your vision, your journey. It's nobody else's. And it could be a college professor, it could be a neighbor, a friend, even people in your own family that are not supportive. It doesn't matter. Stay true to your own vision. Love that. I'm on that vein, I'm actually kind of curious. So we talked a little bit about your path here. And so now you've set the framework and the systems, you've put in the late nights, now you've got where you want to be, you are there. How do you differentiate yourself from other traditional companies in your space, right? Did you have to try different strategies, or how did you make it known that you're different and you're really standing out from the rest?
Really, I think it comes down to having a uniqueness. So our uniqueness is our 4 pillars of top performance. And allowing individuals to recognize when you converse with them, when you meet them on social media, when we do cold outreach on calls, when we do events, when they can see that he has a unique process, right? People pay for application and organization. And so if you can show individuals that you have an organized structure and you have a unique process that takes them from point A to point B, that's what people will start paying for. So having those for us has been huge, because we can show them, hey, here are our 4 pillars. We have optimism, we have systems, we have power, we have focus. And within those 4 pillars, we have what I advertise. I show 5 different categories under each of those things. So in reality, we have 20 different frameworks and modules and learning that we can take a business through. And so being able to show that and show that uniqueness and understand their problems, understand and articulate visually the problems they're going through, and then how your solution can help them through that. At that point, we don't have to sell anything. The clients that sign up for us are wanting to do business with us because they recognize this is something I struggle with. They're optimistic that our process is the best thing for them. And they have the trust behind what we're saying because we've been able to create this and we'll be able to create results. And so people make purchases to increase their relative condition, and that's all a perception of value. So if they can perceive themselves having their life increase because of this, money does not become an issue. Selling does not become an issue because they want to increase their relative condition.
I love this. Kristen and I are over here taking notes. Like we're just writing all these good all these goodies down because it's so true, right? We are essentially in the business of people, right? Insurance is the business of people. Essentially what we're trying to do is help people live better lives, be more secure, and prepare for their future. But it's hard when you put the word insurance in front of any of that. I think that there's a wall immediately that goes up. So, what you shared is so valuable, visually articulating people's problems, because like I mentioned earlier, I think a lot of things are very conceptual. And for people who haven't had the experience, especially, in things like a podcast, you're not seeing any of this, unless you're watching us, of course. You're not seeing any of this. And so I think it can be hard to kind of understand how it fits in. So I think that was gold that we wrote down to take away for ourselves. Thank you so much for sharing that. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier, I'm really interested in is, what differentiates you and the business that you've built, where you coach agents. And I was just talking about being in the business of people because to us, Kristen and I, we started this podcast with the understanding and the knowledge really, um, in the power of community. It is in community. That is where we grow. We are meant to be in community. That is where we evolve. Our human experience is meant to help us in that way by being with one another. What do you find, or what have you found to be the most beneficial in mentoring and coaching agents that are up and coming in the insurance industry?
I love that you mentioned culture and community because that's the process that we teach. I always like to share this story about to kind of describe what agents have to go through when they enter the field. And we love the outdoors, and so one of my hobbies is I like fishing. And one experience my wife and I had, we were able to go up to Alaska and we were able to go river fishing for silver salmon. And when we get up there, we fish on the river, and there are 100 fishermen within a few yards of each other on a river. And they all have the same rods. They all have the same bait. How are you going to catch a fish? Now, doing it on our own, we probably wouldn't have caught anything. But going up there and hiring a guide to take us out on the river, we were able to fill our bucket full of fish. Because he taught us the techniques behind how to flick the line, when to cast, when does the tide come down or up, making sure you have proper gloves, because if any part of your hand touches the fish eggs, which is what the bait is, the fish will not bite it no matter how good a fisherman you are. So the guide understood all of these different techniques to allow us to have a better experience. And the same goes through with insurance agents. You're entering this market, and there's going to be 50 other agents within a 10-mile radius of where you're at. How do you become the expert? How do you differentiate yourself from the other fishermen? When all the other fishermen are selling the exact same way, they're selling based on price. So you can come in as the expert and sell based on values, based on coverages, based on customer experiences, based on client relationships, how to cross-sell, create a holistic view for the client. And one of our frameworks is we create our partners wall. where you establish relationships in the community. So your office is no longer just selling home and auto insurance. Your office is selling what other business owners can contribute to that individual in the community. So a part of my team is a real estate agent. A part of my team is a mortgage officer. A part of my team is a wealth management advisor. Part of my team is an attorney. A part of my team is this roofing contractor. And if you need help with any of these, we're your resource to make sure you are taken care of the best way possible. And so now you are selling with different avenues of trust and relationship to those clients, and you can separate yourself from those other fishermen.
That's such a nice way to phrase that, with that nice story of the fishermen. I think about that too. You know, obviously, Luis and I have a podcast, and there are a million other podcasts out there, right? Why should people listen to ours? What's our message? Well, because we have a really strong mission and goal behind this, right? We both had experiences in our life that threw us off our course that we were on, and we both had to find a way to come back, not to the path we were on, but to a path that really resonated with us, that helped us share our core values with others. And that's what we did. That's why we created this, so that we can help people see that you don't have to stay on this path that society tells you. You can find happiness, success, and money doing what you're passionate about. And with that, as we wrap up and kind of wind down here, we do have one last question for you. So we've talked a lot about your business today, and now I'm curious to know, how do you help your clients overcome common challenges and obstacles in their careers?
So we love providing resource. That's one thing I just love doing, is I love helping others. Whether you pay for coaching with me, we have several different options and levels to do so with, or if I can just help you find a mentor, or if I can just give you free resources. My job is to elevate individuals where they stand, no matter what that is. So I'd love just to elevate everybody here listening to this podcast. Right now, we actually have a really cool promotion going on right now, because I was just named Insurance Business Magazine's 2024 Rising Star of the Year. That just got announced today, actually. And so,
Congratulations!
thank you. So we're actually doing a really cool kind of giveaway to celebrate that. So it will be available until November 20th. But we're giving away our entire strategic planning guide, digital version. So it's 45 pages worth of content to help you thrive in 2025. It'll teach you how to establish your values within the business, how to create a vision, how to drive the daily mission of the business. 45 pages worth of content we're giving away for free to celebrate our Rising Star Award. So I would pick that up. You can find that on our website, tylerjjensen.com. After the 20th, if you're listening to this later, if you go to that same website, go to free resources, we have a free masterclass on there as well that you can take part of, and other resources to build your business.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And we will link those links in the description. They'll be in the show notes, and on YouTube, it'll be in the description, so that anyone who's listening and wants to go grab that, go grab it, go learn some new skills, go learn some more magic of how you can continue to walk this unconventional path and create your own way forward. Um, Tyler, I want to thank you so much for being on today. It has been a pleasure. We have learned so much from you, and I am really proud of your achievement and proud that we got to spend the day that this was announced with you. So congratulations and thank you again.
Yes, thank you, Louisa. Thank you, Christine.
Of course. And
For
Free
sure.
Spirit, thank you so
Yes.
much for joining us on another episode of the Flying Upstream podcast. We hope that you have learned a lot about how a traditional idea can be an innovative approach to carving your own path. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring conversations and unconventional wisdom. And as always, keep flying.